I've lived in Inman Park with my husband and 2 kids for about 36 years.
My wife and I, Jean, and our boys, Thomas and Andrew, moved in 2000.
I was born and raised in Inman Park. I have been an Inman Park resident for over 44 years.
Inman Park is a unique neighborhood. There is a sense of community that was born really of the survival movement that we had to go through in the early years of Inman Park in order for Inman Park to survive as a neighborhood.
Of course, the major change has been being able to stop the highway from coming through.
First of all, you need to know that caution stood for Citizens Against Unnecessary Thoroughfares in Older Neighborhoods. The caution fight was to preserve our in-town neighborhoods from the ravages of a 4 to 6 lane expressway that would cut us all apart.
Because of the work that was done in the 1970s, and the neighborhood developed tremendous expertise in the area of dealing with community problems.
From the ground up, a lot of cleaning, a lot of repairing, a lot of renovating, a lot of being involved in politics to try to make sure that outside forces didn't undo what we were trying to do. And then all of us working together.
So that it became a trend that people started moving into Inman Park, and more houses were renovated. And as they did, things sort of caught fire. Inman Park was surviving, and it was a place where people could come live.
I think some of the folks that were the neighborhood pioneers that invested a lot of time in building up the neighborhood into what it is now. I think the folks like me who are transplants to the neighborhood don't want to see that spirit die, so I have a vested interest in making sure that it's taken care of.
The spirit of Inman Park is, to me, one of triumph. And what I mean by that is the neighborhood was built in the 1890s, our home was built in 1891, and it's seen so much of the world, and it still stands strong to be a place for families and individuals to live their best lives.
It was tough, but it was a fabulous citizens uniting. We had the head, we had the hearts, and we had the limbs.
And that has been a tremendous asset for the community.
The old people are really cool.
It's a spirit of determination. It's a spirit of fight for what's right within the broader sense of the world. And I think that spirit is indicative of what you see across a lot of the people in Inman Park.
Inman Park is unique because it has such a rich history that we don't ignore. We take our history and we build on it.
It doesn't matter how long you've lived in this neighborhood, you're a part. And being in Inman Park is like a family.
We have lived in Inman Park since 2008, so 12 and a half years.
I have been living in Inman Park for just under 44 years.
I have lived in Inman Park for the last 15 years, which was my entire life.
What attracted us to Inman Park are the fantastic homes, the beautiful trees, of course, above all, the neighbors.
I'll say the first word that comes to mind is just fun. I love the neighborhood because of the energy and excitement of it.
What she said.
I think the people primarily make it unique. The fact that the houses are different than they are in many other parts of the city also makes it a lot of fun, but it's the community that makes it unique.
The connectivity among the neighbors, the feeling of affection toward the neighborhood.
The people. Once I really got to know the people, that I think I got to know the neighborhood.
Nobody is exactly the same, even though, we all may live on the same street. Everybody comes from a different background.
We're like the marching band, and it's just so many fun, cool, wacky people, and it's just hilarious and brilliant.
I have so many friends here, and I know everyone in my neighborhood.
There's a phrase that I learned growing up and heard everywhere that I think describes Inman Park very well. And the phrase is, it's hard to be weird in Inman Park.
I would describe Inman Park as home.
We've been coming to the Inman Park Festival for every single year, doing the tour of homes every single year and wishing to be in one of these big, beautiful homes, and finally that dream came true.
We've got everything from the one-bedroom studio apartments down the road to the big old Victorian piles that we've been so lucky to inherit. Yeah, there's something for everybody.
Inman Park is unique because it is so green, and yet it's such a major urban area.
We have these beautiful canopy trees which cast all this marvelous shade along our sidewalks and streets, these Victorian and craftsman homes. So the combination of all that is tremendously appealing to people.
We have a fantastic, not only daytime scene, but also a nightlife. And I love that.
It's the only neighborhood, I think, that has all the amenities that we have with the Beltline, the restaurants, the parks, the proximity to everything in Atlanta. Plus we have this huge volunteer spirit to get things done.
Of course, I still love the green space, that we are so blessed by Freedom Park, Beltline, Trees Atlanta, Candler Park, Olmsted Park. We are so blessed by green space.
I could walk down the street to the bakery or the coffee shop and take the kids out without having to feel like I need to get in the car every single time. So for me, that's what I love about being in the neighborhood.
Growing up in Inman Park is fantastic. Everybody kind of knows everybody.
I describe it as home, a place where community is paramount. We care about each other, and we genuinely want everyone in our neighborhood to thrive.
It's a special place. Inman Park is a special place. I think it's the best neighborhood in Atlanta.
It's just a fabulous place.
We have lived in Inman Park since 1975. So what does that work out to, 45 years?
I have lived in Inman Park for the past 15 years.
I've lived in Inman Park for 10 years.
And I've lived in Inman Park now for 3 years.
Inman Park Festival and Tour of Homes is simply magical. It started off as a way for neighbors to celebrate and show off their neighborhood.
I've worked on every festival since 1976.
Festival brings everybody together, and it becomes a community event that gets everybody participating in one way or another. So it's sort of the center of that community spirit activity that has characterized Inman Park.
It is a happy, joyous celebration of the effort it took and still takes to overcome hardships and obstacles.
We just kind of stumbled into it and said, you know, this is the coolest thing ever. The streets are closed down, there are vendors selling all kinds of stuff. There's a parade that's not to be missed, street food, concerts, the butterfly ball the night before festival starts. It's just a great, amazing weekend.
We have so many fun activities, just like the Inman Park Festival. It's a lot of fun.
They don't all come home for Christmas, but they all come home for festival.
I have a lot of experience with the Inman Park Trash Patrol on my shirt here. I've got a couple years, 2015, 2016, and 2017. So I've been working here for a while. It's very fun.
There is almost no problem that the neighborhood won't take on. Just about anything that develops, any threat to the neighborhood or anything that needs improvement. The neighborhood gets organized, and it's a can-do sort of attitude that characterizes the neighborhood.
In my neighborhood, I've met quite a few politicians. I've met Peter Amon, who's a very nice person, and I've met John Ossoff.
It's that intergenerational nature of the neighborhood that's pretty outstanding, and you don't get a lot of places.
People come together and get to know each other on a real personal level, and that's surprising in a very delightful way.
It's a certain pride that we live in this neighborhood that everybody has, no matter who you talk to.
When I walk around the neighborhood, when I think about my home, it always encompasses the oaks and the elms and the tulip poplars that we've planted, that we've maintained, that we prune, that we care about. And so it makes this place feel like home.
Luckily, we have volunteers that are willing to put in the time and effort, I should say, to raise that money for things like the security patrol, for things like lighting the park, for things like sidewalk repairs. And again, I don't think any other neighborhood in Atlanta enjoys that like we do.
I have lived in Inman Park for the last 14 years.
It's been
a while.
It's been 5 years now, right?
6 years.
6 years.
6 years, but we took a hiatus while we were renovating the house.
Inman Park has been described in different ways through the years.
I'd say Inman Park in one word is family.
It's small town downtown, which I think is pretty accurate.
I would describe Inman Park as a neighborhood of people who show an extraordinary interest in building something together.
I'd say Inman Park in one word is just amazing.
It really is not describable. You can say Victorian houses, but then there's small little shotgun houses. You can say old people, and then there are a whole lot of young people. So it becomes almost indescribable. You can't put it in a box.
Inman Park in one word is inspiring.
It is very much a community.
I hope the future for Inman Park continues the trajectory that we have developed.
The future of Inman Park, I think, is very bright.
It adapts to the needs of people of all different ages. And I think that includes toddlers, and it includes those of us who are old, thank you. well said, dear.
I think we'll continue to transform. I think that we will continue to be an inclusive, very sought out neighborhood because of the sense of family here.
Oh, I love raising a family in this neighborhood because of the proximity of your neighbors. You feel safe.
The neighborhood itself is very different than any place arguably in the country.
My son just turned 6, and he is a third-generation Inman Parker. My parents came to Inman Park separately and then met here in the very early 70s.
I think it's still a neighborhood of amazing people who happen to live in old houses.
We're only going to get better for all generations and all age groups and all income levels of Inman Park as Inman Park grows and becomes an even safer, stronger, more vibrant community.
A lot of the original pioneers in the neighborhood are still here, and they want to stay in the neighborhood.
The neighborhood keeps evolving and to meet the needs of the people who live here.
The growth around us has been tremendous in the last 5 years.
And everyone knows that this is the place you want to be, and I only see things getting better. It remains an attractive neighborhood. It will always be an attractive neighborhood. As the population of Atlanta grows, it's going to be a more desirable neighborhood.
For years, people moved here not just for the place to live, but for the sense of community, because Inman Park has that tradition of fighting for whatever it needs for the betterment of the neighborhood.
The future for Inman Park looks incredibly bright and appealing. So many people have worked so hard in this neighborhood to try to maintain all that was good about it before and to add qualities and features which have made it even better.
I think it's just going to get better.
It will continue to get more diverse. It will continue to be a place that believes in being involved in the civic nature of the city of Atlanta. I would say better and more the same.
We've been here for almost 48 years, and it gets better every year.